Maya Harris stood in the cramped kitchen of her small apartment, the scent of boiling pasta mingling with the musty air from the poorly sealed windows. A semblance of a smile danced on her lips as she stirred a pot, but the tightness in her chest reminded her that the clock was ticking. At 28, she was the proud owner of a small catering business, Meals with Heart, that catered to busy families and elderly clients alike. Yet, every month felt like a balancing act on a tightrope. One miscalculation, one bad week, and she could tumble into chaos. With each passing day, Maya wrestled with a mix of hope and anxiety. Bills piled like unopened letters on her kitchen counter, the grim reminder of overdue rent, mounting credit card debt, and the grocery list that seemed to grow longer while her purse felt emptier. Despite the struggle, she had learned to find joy in the small things: a warm cup of herbal tea in the morning, the beautiful way the sun painted her kitchen in shades of gold, and the satisfaction of creating nutritious meals that brought people together, even when her own table often sat bare. In her heart, Maya echoed the simple philosophy that had been instilled in her by her mother: when you give, you receive in ways you may not always see. It was this belief that had fueled her decision to start a bi-weekly initiative, Meals for Needs. Each Thursday, she crafted fresh meals free of charge for those in her neighborhood who struggled to make ends meet. That day came again, and as she surveyed the spread of steamed vegetables, steaming soup, and earlier prepared pasta, a pang of excitement collided with the bittersweet taste of financial burden. She grabbed the 2 insulated delivery bags, her heart thrumming with purpose. This week, one of her recipients was a frail elderly man named Mr. Thompson. Maya had gotten to know him on one of her past visits. With his thinning hair and gentle blue eyes, he reminded her of her grandfather. The loneliness in his voice broke her heart even more than his stories about a past full of vigor. Fishing trips and summer barbecues had turned into echoes of silence, seated alone in a room dimmed by shadows. That haunting sense of isolation connected them, pushing her to ensure that Mr. Thompson would have company every other Thursday along with his meals. As she made her way through the sun-bleached streets of their neighborhood, the bags of food felt heavy yet rewarding in her hands. The crunch of fallen leaves underfoot mirrored the layers of her own worries: self-disappointment, fear of failure, dreams deferred. Yet, this simple act of kindness provided a flicker of hope, reminding her of the potential for connection and transformation. Arriving at Mr. Thompson's doorstep, she knocked lightly and stepped back, savoring the moment of anticipation. Not long after, the door creaked open, a draft mixing with the scent of her freshly prepared meals. His eyes brightened at the sight of her, crinkles deepening at the corners of his smile. "Ah, my favorite chef has come to visit," he exclaimed, a twinge of warmth combating the chill of his empty home. "Just your friendly neighborhood meal delivery," Maya replied, her tone brightening as she handed him the insulated bag. "I thought I'd try something new this week. Homemade minestrone soup and garlic bread." Mr. Thompson accepted the food with a gentle dignity, his gnarled fingers shaking just slightly as he unclipped the bag. "You spoil me, Maya. This looks delicious." As always, he set the meal on a small table, his eyes glimmering with gratitude that meant more than any words could convey. As they exchanged pleasantries, she allowed herself to let go of the weight she carried. Sharing stories about their day, laughter floated through the air, warding off the heaviness of solitude anchoring his home. Listening to his stories, she'd begun to glimpse a glimmer of possibility in his life. It wasn't just about food, it was about nourishing the soul. Suddenly, the chime of an old clock caught her attention. Maya leaned closer as she glanced at the time. "I should let you enjoy your meal, but I'll see you again next week, okay?" "Of course," Mr. Thompson replied, nodding, his grateful gaze boring into hers. "Maya, do you have a moment? I have something for you." She turned, intrigued, as he shuffled to a cluttered side table and fished out an old tin box, a sheen of nostalgia dancing in his movements. He opened it, revealing an array of colorful postcards and fragments of currency wrapped tightly with twine. "It's not much, but this is all I have left from a life well lived, memories, and a little pocket money I had set aside." Maya's heart quickened, the reality of her financial woes flaring with uncertainty. "Oh, Mr. Thompson, I can't accept this," she stammered, stepping back slightly. "Take it," he urged, his voice calm yet firm, the twinkle in his eyes lighting the room. "You're bringing life to my days with your kindness, let this bring light to yours." Maya felt her throat tighten as he pressed the tin into her hands, the weight forged by years of care. It didn't feel like mere currency, it felt like hope wrapped in history, a reminder that kindness reverberated in ways she would come to understand in time. Leaving his home, the box tucked against her chest, the weight of it carried more than simple money, it bore the promise of change, not just financially but within her very being. Each step home echoed with the pulse of her heart, alive with potential. Perhaps, in someone else's kindness, she might find a path to discover the beauty of her own. As night settled over the city, the quiet brownstone glimmered under the soft glow of street lamps, illuminating dreams that danced like shadows on her walls. Maya breathed deeply, her resolve rekindled. She realized that sometimes the most valuable treasures were nestled in acts of kindness. And like the ingredients of her meals, perhaps a little help could create something beautiful in her life, too. Maya wrapped her thin shawl tighter around her shoulders as she made her way home that evening, the tin box nestled against her heart. Each step felt lighter than before, the weight of despair momentarily lifted by the unexpected kindness Mr. Thompson had offered. She knew this small act would echo far beyond herself. It already stirred something within her soul, a burgeoning sense of possibility. The next morning, as sunlight streamed through the window, illuminating the remnants of yesterday's pasta dinner, Maya sat at her table, the tin box still beside her. Curiosity sparked as she gently unfolded the twine, revealing various currencies from years gone by, a mix of old coins and faded bills, remnants from errands long forgotten. But it was the postcards that caught her eye, each one painted with vivid scenes. Memories wrapped in nostalgia, clinging tightly to the time that had slipped away so easily. Maya picked up one postcard depicting a glamorous summer fair. Twirling at the edge of nostalgia, she could almost hear the laughter, smell the cotton candy, and see the vibrant colors of life blooming in all directions. A thought flickered in her mind: what if these postcards could become a piece of something more, a lasting tribute that would help her thrive? Using the one small window of opportunity she had, Maya decided to organize a small art exhibit alongside her catering business, focusing on the nostalgic postcards Mr. Thompson had given her. She envisioned a community event where locals could view the postcards, share their own memories of the town, and enjoy her homemade meals. She called it Nostalgia Nights, with half the proceeds supporting Meals for Needs. Although the idea filled her with excitement, she also felt a tremor of doubt. Hosting an event like this required a space, advertising, and the kind of funds she could only dream of right now. Her fears washed over her like a tidal wave, a reminder of the struggle that accompanied every step she took. Yet, just as she planned to abandon the notion, another thought crossed her mind. She recalled the old community center that had been shut down for months, a place filled with empty halls echoing with life. Days passed, and Maya, buzzing with the energy of hope, knocked on the door of the community center. To her surprise, she encountered Jack Reynolds, the town's former councilman, who had spearheaded initiatives for years. He stood tall, a hint of nostalgia in his eyes as he recognized the lively spirit he had always loved. "Jack, I'm so glad to see you. I was hoping to talk to you about something," Maya started, her nerves treading lightly. "Come in, Maya. What's on your mind?" he asked, gesturing for her to take a seat. As she explained her vision for the exhibit, Jack's nodding head encouraged her to profess her thoughts. Not only did he support her idea, but he felt inspired and offered her the hall for free. "You know, as much as this community needs good food, it needs connection. You're doing a great thing here," he said, his voice thick with sincerity. Maya's heart swelled. With that blessing, she could finally move her plans forward. Over the next few weeks, she poured herself into preparing for Nostalgia Nights, balancing work and planning while ensuring her catering business ran smoothly. The meals expanded beyond Italian comfort food. As word spread through the community, friends began sharing stories and offering their memories to display alongside her postcards. On the evening of the event, colorful strings of lights crisscrossed the hall, casting a warm, inviting glow. Laughter filled the air, mingled with the sounds of pots clanging and mouths eagerly tasting her savory creations. Maya moved through the crowd, ensuring everything ran smoothly, even as her nerves bubbled beneath the surface. Each smile and every wide-eyed gaze fueled her spirit, and she even spotted Mr. Thompson sitting proudly at a corner table, cherishing the moments alongside their shared neighbors. As the night deepened, Maya took the stage, her heart racing while she clutched the microphone in her hand. "Thank you all for being here tonight. Each of you is a part of my journey," she began, her voice steady despite the knots in her stomach. "Mr. Thompson taught me that tiny acts of kindness can create ripples, helping those around us. Tonight, every meal enjoyed, every postcard shared, will help provide meals for those who need it in our community." As enthusiastic applause erupted, a warmth blossomed inside her. Confidence was rising to the surface. The event moved on, filled with laughter, stories, and memories shared under one roof. However, the moment of joy reached a climax as the crowd gathered around the large donation box set aside for meals for needs. The soft jingling of coins and the crinkle of dollar bills echoed through the hall as people donated generously, bringing forth a wave of gratitude from their hearts. Once the event concluded, Maya began counting the funds raised. As she organized the stacks of bills and emptied the donation box, she found herself struggling to contain her delight when she finally added everything up. The realization hit her like a gentle wave. The total exceeded $1,500. A shudder of disbelief washed over her. It was liberating, a solid foundation to invest right back into her dreams. More than just the money. The connections made that night began to blossom into relationships within the community. Inspired by the event, several families approached her afterward, expressing their desire to collaborate, to spread the word about meals for needs, and to help with future food drives. In the following days, waves of financial transformation continued to unfold, with local businesses seeking caterers for events, and some families offering her bulk discounts for ingredients in exchange for exposure in the local market. Among them was a quaint bakery named Sweet Flower, run by a kind woman named Helen, who, after sampling Maya's food, immediately offered her a partnership. They would collaborate on weekly cooking classes where the proceeds would support both of their businesses. In the midst of it all, a profound sense of empowerment surged through Maya. She not only saw the ripples of her initial kindness bring about financial stability, but witnessed its potential to forge new connections with people eager to help her thrive. Her small act had ignited hope within the community, sparking the stories that unfolded from one heart to another. Weeks rolled by, and the nourishing meals and nutritional education offered were met with open arms by families who once hesitated to seek help. The gratitude flowed, and Maya could feel the whispers of light wrapping around her like a warm embrace. One evening, as she stood in the kitchen, putting together a meal for a family in need, the doorbell rang, surprising Maya as she wiped her hands with a towel. Welcoming Mr. Thompson through the door, she was greeted with an energy she hadn't seen in him before. "Maya, my dear. How are you doing?" His voice was thick with warmth. Eyes sparkled with a newfound spirit. "It's going so well. I'm amazed at how quickly the community has come together, all from that little idea of mine," she confessed, feeling proud and humble at the same time. "Ah, but it wasn't just you. You had a spark, and you lit a fire. The way you took your kindness and turned it into opportunity, just like that." He gestured with an air of pride that filled Maya with joy. As they continued to talk, Mr. Thompson reached inside his coat pocket and revealed a glorious envelope and handed it to her. "I can't express how much joy this whole journey has brought into my life. I want to support your efforts in any way I can, so I gathered together a few of my old friends who I used to fish with way back when." Maya opened the envelope, her eyes widening as she saw a check inside for $2,000. "Mr. Thompson, I can't accept this. You've already given so much." "Consider it an investment then, a sign of gratitude," he replied firmly, his expression softening. "You've not only changed my life but so many others as well. Use it wisely to ensure that kindness keeps flowing." Maya's heart swelled with emotion, tears glistening in her eyes as the envelope trembled in her fingers. This gift was not only about the money, but rather a manifestation of faith community through connection, and the truth that one act of kindness could change an entire course of life's journey. So she accepted, a grin blossoming on her face fueled by inspiration and warmth. In that moment, she knew her story was just beginning. The road ahead was paved with resilience and possibility. And as she became more entwined within the fibers of her community, she was determined to keep the kindness flowing, sharing, creating, and transforming lives just as Mr. Thompson's had transformed hers. Maya's heart brimmed with purpose as she embarked on this new adventure, knowing that acts of kindness, like ripples across a pond, would echo through the lives of others, long after they were thrown into the world. And together, they would not only create something profound but would nourish the essence of their little town for generations to come. Maya stood at the bustling crossroads of change, her heart brimming with newfound purpose as she contemplated her next culinary adventure. The check from Mr. Thompson nestled securely in her pocket felt like an anchor and a lifeline, everything she had worked for converging into a moment of hope. She envisioned a new chapter for her catering business, Meals with Heart. One that would not only sustain her family but also continue nurturing the bonds she had fostered within the community. As she began planning her next event, Maya felt aligned with her vision of generosity deeply rooted in the idea that food brings people together and connects them in profound ways. Nostalgia nights had been a success, but she knew there was so much more they could accomplish. Inspired, she decided to take things a step further and launch a weekly community dinner, inviting those in need alongside local families to share meals and stories around the same table. She named it Table of Togetherness, where every dish would be crafted with love and served in the spirit of kindness. The meals would be free for families who found themselves struggling but welcomed contributions from those who could afford it. The concept was a simple yet powerful one: breaking bread together could dismantle barriers, ease isolation, and cultivate gratitude. The days that followed were filled with brainstorming sessions, where Maya turned her large kitchen into a think tank. She set up tables and chairs in her modest living room, envisioning the gatherings filled with laughter, warmth, and shared memories. Invitations were handwritten with care, each one sealed with a sticker that read, "You are welcome at our table." As the launch date approached, excitement buzzed through her neighborhood like a gentle current. Locals eagerly extended their help, donating ingredients, offering to set up the venue, and spreading the word about the special event. It was a beautiful sight to behold, so many people rallying together for a collective good. Each contribution affirmed the idea that kindness not only transforms lives but strengthens community ties. On the eve of the first Table of Togetherness, Maya hardly slept. Thoughts of joy danced in her mind as she meticulously prepared for the evening. She filled large pots with simmering meals as rich aromas of roasted chicken mingled with savory herbs wafted through the air. Her heart echoed the warmth found within each dish. The morning of the event greeted her with a bright, sun-drenched sky, amplifying the hope that surrounded her. She welcomed local families as they transformed her tiny apartment into a vibrant banquet hall. Colorful tablecloths draped onto the tables, flickering candles illuminated the room, exuding an ambience of romance and connection. By the time dinner was served, a hearty feast awaited, ready to be shared. Guests arrived promptly, filling the space with vibrant energy. Children giggled among themselves while parents chatted, weaving stories of their lives together. The rich aromas wafted through the air, creating an atmosphere that felt intimately warm. Maya couldn't contain her smile as she glanced around, her heart swelling with gratitude. Friends and families were breaking bread, sharing platters heaped with delicious food, a reflection of the spirit she had worked to cultivate. Nearly halfway through the evening, Mr. Thompson arrived, illuminated by joy, his presence instantly warming the atmosphere. He took a seat at the head of the table, eyes sparkling with enthusiasm as he observed the bustling camaraderie around him. As the meal began, Maya welcomed everyone and shared her vision for Table of Togetherness. She expressed her hope that this gathering would not only nourish their bodies but also form bridges of connection and solidarity within the community. Then, with a spirit of gratitude, she invited guests to share stories, joyous memories, or personal anecdotes that had marked significant turning points in their lives. As laughter erupted and heartfelt tales unfolded, Maya felt the spirit of community wrap around her like a loving embrace. In that moment, she realized this wasn't merely a meal, it was a movement seeded by the kindness that once fueled her relationship with Mr. Thompson. Their shared love of nourishment brought healing into a space that had once felt like isolation. In the weeks that followed, Table of Togetherness blossomed like the spring flowers that peeked through the thawing ground. Every dinner showcased the array of flavors and culinary traditions, fostering a sense of appreciation for diversity. Neighbors who had once hardly exchanged greetings were now celebrating, supporting one another through conversations filled with laughter, a truly transformative experience. But it wasn't just the communal dinners that brought change, it was also the ripple effect of kindness surging through the neighborhood. Grateful families began bringing their own dishes to share, assuring that no one would eat alone. Conversations turned into collaborations, families offering to volunteer their time, creating a network of collective support. As the months rolled on, something magical began to emerge, a sense of empowerment blossomed among those who gathered. Inspired by Maya's example, several families started initiatives to lead cooking workshops for kids, instilling the joy of cooking while incorporating healthy practices. Donations poured into meals, with Heart providing resources to further support those in need, and Maya was grateful when the local schools sought her help to engage students through food literacy programs. One evening, as Maya stirred a bubbling pot on the stove in preparation for another gathering, she received an unexpected call. It was from the local newspaper, inviting her to share her story for a feature on community leaders making a difference. Curious butterflies fluttered in her stomach as she sensed an opportunity to amplify her message of kindness. When the story published, the townspeople rallied even more fervently around meals with Heart, and donations surged as people began recognizing the value of connection rooted in compassion. Local businesses surged in support, offering discounts on supplies as more volunteers stepped forward to help with the cause. Maya dedicated her newfound recognition to Mr. Thompson, still cooking alongside her, proudly reminiscing about the day he sparked a change within her. One fateful evening, before another dinner service began, Maya pulled Mr. Thompson aside. "Do you realize how much you've helped my life blossom? It's thanks to you and your kindness that all of this is happening," she expressed, the weight of her gratitude palpable in the air. He smiled, a twinkle in his eye as he waved his hand dismissively. "Maya, this was always within you, I merely helped the seed grow. The world doesn't change until good people like you take action. However, I'm so grateful our paths converged, it rejuvenated my spirit too." Tears glistened in her eyes at their heartfelt exchange, stoking the fire of her own journey. Through her vulnerability, she realized how interconnected their lives had become. Maya and Mr. Thompson both thrived on this venture, embodying the essence of what it meant to live with purpose and serve with heart. Months turned to a year, and the Table of Togetherness became an indelible part of their community landscape, sustaining not only meals but also forming friendships that bloomed over shared experiences. Each encounter resonated with love and resolve, nourishing the community like the meals shared around that table. As seasonal harvests came and went, Maya cultivated anything from herb gardens to connection projects that flowed back into the community. Financial stability had flourished, allowing her personal growth and nourishment to mirror the journeys of those around her. She was no longer in just survival mode, she had transitioned into thriving through connection, allowing her family to flourish. And one golden autumn evening, as sunlight filtered through the leaves and cast a warm glow on the bustling gathering, Maya stood at the center of Table of Togetherness, surrounded by the whispers of laughter and the embrace of camaraderie. She felt an indescribable sense of fulfillment. "Tonight," she began, beaming as she looked at the faces surrounding her, "we will share a special meal to honor everything this community means to us. Each of you has played a role in weaving this beautiful tapestry. Remember, it was just a single act of kindness that set this in motion. Let's continue to nurture that spirit." Proudly, she lifted her glass in a toast. "To kindness, to love, and to the stories shared. May we always remember the power of connection. And may we honor the beauty in togetherness." Glasses clinked as laughter erupted. a wave of warmth echoing through every heart at the table. Maya felt a swell of hope ripple through her being, the comfort of purpose and passion wrapping around her like a soft quilt. In that moment, she knew her journey would never truly end. Each connection forged, every meal shared served as the foundation for continual growth, a reminder of the endless potential that lay in kindness. It was more than a tale of financial success, it was a flourishing garden nurtured through compassion, intertwined and thriving. A vibrant life built on love that would inspire generations to come. Maya turned her gaze to the faces around her, her own heart singing with gratitude, knowing that they had all become part of a promise to uplift each other from the roots of kindness, making this beautiful community grow, one meal at a time,